Everybody, Joanne is here. She's doing well. You want to give her a round of applause, guys?
It's embarrassing. Vote Winsome Sears all the way.
There she goes, all right? Listen to Joanne. She tells you to vote Winsome Sears. Thank you, Joanne. You doing okay?
It's just hot.
Spain and Yugoslavia is where my...
We will do that. We will do that. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Let's give her another round of applause. She's on her feet and doing great. Thank you. Look, we are in it's a hot room. It's almost an analogy for for where we are as a country. We're going to give her just a moment to get a little bit of water and get out of the way to safety here. Everybody else doing all right? I'll tell you a little story. I think, do we have some protesters outside earlier today? I saw them. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you a little story I had from my own experience, and we'll close out on this. I'm running for governor in Ohio. Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's going to take a team effort between Ohio to Virginia to bring our country back. It's up to the states to lead the way. And my first event this year in Ohio, we had protesters outside. And there was a man who came in. He was in the photo signing session. He wanted me to sign his book. His son was there. They took a picture with me. I asked him, "Where's your wife tonight?" And he said, "She's actually one of the protesters outside," which cracked me up. So maybe that's happening in here. That's the USA, right? So I made a commitment. After that, I said, for the rest of this year, whenever we have protesters outside, we're going to go, we will always pray for them. And we will do our best, and I've done my best. My commitment was we're going to go outside and talk to them. We're not going to bend our will to them. Our spine will remain of steel, but we will still speak to those who disagree with us, extend the courtesy that they may not extend us in return. That's what we're going to do. So I went to Wayne County. Thank you. I'll take that. And that's who we are. So I'll close with this. It was an event in Wayne County that I went to in Ohio this spring. And it reminded me of this because it was really hot, just like today. It was in May. And there was a protest outside. So there's a woman. I go out and I speak to her, made her commitment. We talked to the protest. She comes up to me. She's an older woman. She's upset. She's screaming at me. She asks, "Why are you cutting our veterans' benefits?" Took me aback. I said, "We're not cutting your veterans' benefits." She said, "No, you're cutting our veterans' benefits. Why are you cutting our veterans' benefits?" I said, "Listen, ma'am, we're not cutting your veterans' benefits. A governor can't do it. And most importantly, we as Republicans and as Americans stand for the people who have served our country. So we're not cutting your veterans' benefits. But tell me, where did you hear that?" She thought about it for a second, and she said, I don't know. I heard it somewhere." I said, "Where did you probably see it?" And who knows, And so I asked her, "Where did you serve?" She said, "I served in Vietnam." Think about this. Think about the protesters outside, where they get their information. A Vietnam War veteran is out protesting an event on a hot day like today because somebody told her that I was there to cut her veterans' benefits. So you know what we did? We invited her in. I said, "Come on and join us for dinner." I give her a lot of credit. She came into the dinner. She sat there the whole time. I'm watching her in the audience. She's about right where you are. Keeping an eye on her. She's loosening up over the course of the evening. We ask everybody in the room who's a veteran to stand up. 30 people stand up. She does too. The entire room of Republicans, I'm proud, applauded for her. And then we said, if you're a Vietnam War veteran, please remain standing. She was the only person in a room this size left standing. The entire room applauded for her. And then we told them that she was one of the protesters outside that day. And they laughed, just like you guys did. So we actually called her up on stage. I gave her the mic. We asked her to say whatever she felt like saying. You came here to be heard. We'll let you be heard. She looked at the audience, and she said, you know what? You all have changed my perspective on Republicans tonight. And I thought that was progress. On one night in Wayne County, Ohio, and I'll tell you what, just speaking very honestly with you guys here, I'll tell you what makes me sad is that in a normal time, I made that commitment this year. Honest to God, if I came here, I would be outside talking to those protesters. But today I was informed that I couldn't do that. That it wasn't a safe enough environment for us to be anymore speaking to them. And to me, that's not America. To me, this is the country where we could disagree vehemently but still get together at our best at the dinner table at the end of it. That we win our fellow Americans over through persuasion, as you know what our friend Ronald Reagan did 40 years ago. And you think about this, the beauty of this country. Think about Winsome Sears. We're just talking backstage. She's an immigrant from Jamaica, lived the full arc of the American dream. Right? Think about Jason Miyares. Mom came from Cuba. Think about my parents came halfway around the country to a country where they had nothing to their name, and their son is now positioned to lead that very state. We love that American dream, and that's different about this country. Because you can move to China, and you'd never be Chinese. You could pack your bags and move to Japan, and you would never be Japanese. We could live the rest of our lives in Italy or Germany, and you would never be an Italian or a German. But you could come from any one of those countries to the United States of America, and you could still be an American, as long as you pledge allegiance to the ideals of this country. As long as you work hard, you play by the rules, you get to have a good life and dream for an even better life for your kids. This is a nation founded on those ideals that brought together a divided group of people 250 years ago, including led by this Commonwealth in Virginia. You know what? I believe we can do it again. E pluribus unum means from many, one. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what reunited us after the Civil War. That is what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that America over group identity and victimhood and censorship and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about, and that is what you have an opportunity to revive and keep alive here in Virginia this November when you elect Republicans up and down the ballot. We've got your back, Virginia. We love you. Thank you for having me. God bless you. May God bless the Commonwealth, and may God bless our United States of America. Fight, fight, fight. Let's get it done. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I've got that lightning inside me, son of a god. I'm like a titan that's rising.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our next Lieutenant Governor, John Reid. Hey, everybody! Wow! How you doing? I am so glad to see you tonight. Thank you for turning out. Do we love Vivek? I don't want his ego to get any bigger than it already is, because the guy is brilliant. But he's the one, I'm just going to let you in on something. He was the one guy that I was so desperate to get on the radio program last year, and I kept calling, and I had my producer call. Never could get him. So meeting him backstage it beats the radio show. Thank you, Vivek, for being here, for supporting Virginia and our ticket. We are so lucky as Republicans to be bringing new people to this party. That's the goal. Politics is about addition, and Vivek is bringing new people to the Republican Party. So is Winsome. So is Jason. So are our candidates for the House of Delegates. And I appreciate the fact that everybody is working so hard. Now, those of you who used to listen to my radio show, you know it was 4 hours long. So I'm going to give you the Wikipedia version of what I would normally share with you this evening. I started in Front Royal this morning, drove at 4 o'clock in the morning to Henrico, changed clothes, took a shower, went out to Chesterfield to start when they first opened the ballots. Thank you for everybody who was in Chesterfield this morning. Rushed back across the river to Henrico, interrupted Abigail Spanberger's press conference, by the way. Hopefully in a very nice Virginia gentleman kind of way. She had just finished telling everybody how we need to lower the temperature and be more careful about our rhetoric. And I said, well, that's my opportunity to go shake hands and say, we're going to all get along. We're going to beat you, but we're all going to get along. And then I got in the car and drove up to Arlington, shook hands with Arlington, and believe it or not, I found some Republicans who actually liked us up in Arlington, which was awesome. And then down to Fairfax, again, lots of reporters. I stood and talked to them for about 20, 25 minutes. You know, there's some people who don't do that, including a senator from Chesterfield named Ghazala Hashmi. She does not talk to reporters. I mean, maybe she's here tonight. Anybody see Ghazala? No, because my opponent, my Democrat opponent, apparently, after, 5 or 6 years in the Senate, is scared to have a debate with the talk show host. You know, the talk show host, they're trying to demean me by calling me the talk show host. Forgetting the time with U.S. Senator George Allen running communications on the Foreign Relations Committee. Forgetting that I was Ronald Reagan's last press assistant in Los Angeles, California. Forgetting my 10 years as an anchor and investigative reporter right here in Richmond. Forgetting my time as the leader of the Communications Department of the United States Chamber of Commerce, the largest business federation in the world. And then forgetting when I got rolled and they told me, oh, John, we want to send you overseas. In my head, I'm thinking Paris or London. It's going to be amazing. They sent me to Kuwait during the war. But it was a really eye-opening experience. And Ghazala today actually told reporters who were beginning to notice that she refuses every debate, and I'm accepting every invitation, she said she just doesn't think John Reid has thought through policy enough. Well, I don't know, Ghazala. Do you know how to Google? I can show you all the policy positions and all of the proposals that I have issued to try to solve the problems that the people of Virginia have been telling me for the last year that they've got. I think that sounds pretty serious. The Republicans are here to solve problems, not to drag them out to try to score political points. And that is why Winsome is going to win. That is why Jason Miyares is going to win. And that is why I am so thankful for a great governor like Glenn Youngkin, who stopped 400 really stupid bad ideas from becoming 400 plus bad laws in the Commonwealth of Virginia. A guy who went out and used his business experience, similar to the way that I want to use mine, to bring new business and new jobs to. I got news for the Democrats. Government jobs are honorable jobs. They're fine jobs. I'm never putting anybody down and go to work in the to serve our country, to serve the state, to serve the localities. But the real trick of a great society is not a government that feeds the people and houses the people. A great society produces people who feed and house themselves, not on the government dole. Glenn Youngkin has brought so many new jobs to Virginia. We're at record pace. And I will tell you, when I worked for George Allen, he used to tell me, never take your eye off the jobs, bringing them into the Commonwealth. And this is why we cannot allow the Democrats to win. Because their proposals, and they were crazy proposals, all 6 of the people who ran for lieutenant governor for the nomination to the Democrat Party. You think they want this job? 6 people running for it? They want it. And when you look at the money that's coming in from out of state, they want it. They're trying to buy these seats. All 6 of them said that they want to get rid of our right to work. The problem for them is that I'm a native Virginian, and I've known every governor. Chuck Robb, Jerry Belials, Doug Wilder, even Mark Warner and Tim Kaine, before they went crazy when they went to D.C., they all agreed, don't touch right to work. That's the magic. That's how we get these businesses to come to Virginia. And you know what? Virginia workers, they don't want to be forced to do anything. And when I sit down with folks all across the state and say, hey, do you want to be forced into a union? Their eyes get big and say, hell no. I don't want to get forced into a union. Do you want money taken out of your paycheck to then give it to the union bosses up in New Jersey who will then give it to guess who? The Democrats? That's the deciding point for a lot of these folks who have voted Democrat in the past who are coming home to the Republican Party this fall. Now, you know I'm a nice guy, right? Those of you who listened on WRVA. I'll throw a punch, but I'm a nice guy, so I'm not going to turn this into a bash Ghazala Hashmi session. Maybe for a couple of minutes. Let me, okay? Look, everything you despise about the government schools, Ghazala Hashmi has been pushing it. Now, I'm not beating up on teachers. I'm not. My dad was a principal at Robius Middle School here in Chesterfield. My mother was a public school teacher in Charlottesville. My grandmother was a teacher in Greensville County in Emporia. My grandfather was a principal in Suffolk right after World War II. So I'm not beating up on the people who get up every morning to educate our kids, but I am calling out the corrupt system that is not focusing on educating your children, making sure they can read and they can write and they have critical thinking skills and they're prepared to exit the school and love their country and love their state and be good citizens instead of indoctrinating them to hate everybody who came before them and to have a bad attitude. No more DEI in the schools. No more critical race theory in the schools. You know, I'm not a racist. I believe everybody can compete, don't you? If you give them a fair shot. And that is one reason that I align with Winsome Sears. You know, I watched Winsome when she was lieutenant governor. And there were several times I was impressed. One of them was when she was pushing for school choice. So that you as parents, not us up at the state capitol, not some bureaucrat in the school board office, you as parents get to pick where your kids go to school. You as parents get to decide what values you want your children to be exposed to. They may or may not match up to my values. I don't get to make that decision. You do, as parents. You need leaders who will defend your rights as parents. Winsome did that. Winsome sat and tried to come up with solutions. And you know what the Democrats did? Oh, no. No. They wouldn't work with Winsome. Well, when she's governor, I think we're going to really make inroads to provide opportunities for people who don't want to be trapped in lousy schools. Ghazala is the reason that the schools were closed for an extra year, even when we knew that the kids weren't the ones in jeopardy. She's the reason we had the mask mandate. She's the one who's been pushing for boys in girls' locker rooms and boys in girls' sports. Now, you know me, I'm a pretty open-minded guy, but that crosses the line. It's a no from John Reid on those issues. And I'm going to protect young people from the mutilation of their bodies. We used to all agree that you don't allow a child to do something that's irreversible, that could harm them, that it's reasonable to think they might change their mind about. We're not going to allow that to happen. And you know what I'm finding as I go around the state? Even up in deep blue Northern Virginia, people walk up to me and say, you know, John, you're right on that. We're going to win over new voters. So you will notice as I travel around the state, instead of my normal red tie, I'm wearing my blue ties. And I had a lady come up and go, "Oh my God, John, you're wearing the blue tie. Have you switched on us?" I'm like, "No. This is symbolic of the people I'm trying to win over, to the party of reason, to the party of responsibility, the Republican Party of Virginia." So let me tell you, if you've got Democrat friends, and I hope you still do, I've lost a few of them, but I'm trying to bring them back, tell them that if they're upset about Kamala losing, they have a chance to avenge her loss by voting for a strong black woman like Winsome Sears. And if you've been following the news, you could throw this in. If they're mad that Winsome Sears passed over, that Kamala Harris passed over Mayor Pete, they can avenge him by voting for me for lieutenant governor. Listen, folks, this is our moment to save the Commonwealth of Virginia, to send Winsome Sears into the governor's mansion, knowing that she will stand up for you, to return Jason Miyares as Attorney General, knowing that he is a responsible man who will call balls and strikes, who won't make up the law, he will follow the law. And I hope that if you have watched me closely, I have earned your confidence and faith that I'm that reasonable, responsible, respectful, and fair native Virginian who will treat everybody the right way and will sit with other people and find commonality and build a future that we can all be proud of. I'm so proud to be your nominee for lieutenant governor. I promise I'm going to work hard. Let's win. Let's win, everybody. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thunderstruck! Thunderstruck! Yeah, thunderstruck!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Attorney General, Jason Miyares.
Virginians, it's game time. Are you ready? I'm ready. I'm Jason Miyares. I'm your Attorney General. I'm the People's Protector, and I'm asking you to rehire me to continue to protect you and Virginia. Listen, part of the great joy is I get to go around, see everyday Virginians, the very, very best you find in the country, and I get to ask them to hire me, but I also get to remind them of where Virginia came from. Because, folks, the Virginia of 2021, just 4 years ago, that was a very, very different place. I did this at an event one time, and a friend came up and said it was like PTSD for you to describe where we were. But, folks, I gotta. Because leadership matters. Because the Virginia of 2021 was a state that was dying. The Virginia of 2021 was a state that was 46 in the entire country in job creation. We were 48 out of 50 states in reopening our schools. We saw 20 years of gains for black and Latino students on our standardized test scores wiped out in 18 months. Why? Because left-wing politicians in Richmond refused to reopen our schools. They kept our private schools open. They kept our ABC scores open. They kept our churches closed and your child being stuck behind a computer instead of with a teacher. And probably the most startling thing was for 8 straight years, Virginia was a state that had more people moving out of Virginia than actually moving to Virginia. That had not happened since Calvin Coolidge was president. Now, I did have a young staffer ask me, well, who in the world's Calvin Coolidge? So if you don't know, that last happened over 100 years ago. Virginia was like, if you watch those mafia movies, the guy wakes up in the trunk of the Buick. He's not sure where he's headed, but it's just a bad final destination. That was Virginia. We were a state that was dying. And then something happened in 2021. What was that? You hired Glenn, you hired Winsome, you hired me, and you hired us to go work for you. And folks, it has been the single most remarkable turnaround any state has seen in the entire country in modern American history. We call it the Great Virginia Comeback, the Virginia Renaissance. From 46 in the country in job creation, the top 5, being named the best state to do business. $140 billion of new investment that has come into Virginia. 1.5 job openings for every single Virginian looking for a job. $9 billion in tax relief, over $1 billion in wasteful regulations off our books. And yes, Virginia now reversed the trend. We have more folks moving to Virginia than moving away Virginia. And you don't have to look far, folks, of how leadership matters, elections matter. You just have to look, you could go look at California. How's California looking? A state that is sunny year-round, no humidity, and yet 100,000 people a year are moving out of California. Did California suddenly get ugly overnight? No. It was bad leadership, bad politicians in Sacramento with reckless policies. But you don't have to look that far. You could just look at Maryland. Look at Maryland. Larry Hogan left office, Republican governor, at the end of 2022. What happened since? Far-left monopoly got in control of power in Maryland. Tax and spend spree, regulation spree. They went from having a budget surplus to record deficits. They've raised tax after tax. Maryland has the third high tax burden now, third highest in the entire country after Texas and California. So as Winsome likes to say, do we want a Maryland, our Virginia? Do we want a Maryland, our Virginia? We don't. And when I said Virginia is a dying state, I meant that literally as well. When I took office as Attorney General, we had a murder rate that was at a 20-year high, a violent crime rate at a 30-year high, the highest levels of addiction deaths ever recorded in the history of Virginia. And I came in and I had a really, really novel idea. How about we actually work with law enforcement instead of working against law enforcement? Amen? And what I want you all to do when you leave here tonight, when you see one of those brave men and women wearing the badge, I want you to just go up to them and say thank you. Because what they do for us every day. Can we give a round of applause for our law enforcement heroes? I know you have a fantastic one here in Sheriff Leonard. And so we worked with law enforcement. We went after the bad criminals, the repeat violent offenders that were causing so much of the mayhem. And with Governor Youngkin, we launched Operation Ceasefire. It simply has this novel idea. If you're a violent repeat offender, we will find you, we will investigate you, we will indict you, and we will prosecute you. And the results have been remarkable. A huge drop in our murder rate, double-digit drop in our violent crime rate. Our ceasefire cities, 66% of the drop from just our 13 ceasefire cities. The city of Roanoke, just one example, 0.12% of the population of the city of Roanoke, that is less than 1/5 of 1%, were committing over 30% of the homicides. So we went after that 0.12%, and the city of Roanoke had a 62% drop in their murder rate because it works. Now, I love when Winsome says there's a common sense party and a nonsense party. The nonsense party says you can't do that, but we stood up for law enforcement and we stood up for victims. Now, I'm running for Attorney General, and you know what? There's somebody else applying for the job. Yeah, I know. And he's really, really soft, really weak and woke, Jay Jones. And let me tell you a little about something about Jay Jones. He's asking you to hire him, be the top prosecutor in the entire state of Virginia, but he's never prosecuted a single case in his entire life. And I love to say the best predictor of future performance is past performance. What did he do when he was actually in a position of power in the Virginia General Assembly? He was a social justice warrior. Time and time again, when he reached a fork in the road, and he could have sided with law enforcement, could have sided with victims, he sided with felons. He supports things like no cash bail. That's truly an idea as dumb as it sounds. It means you literally cannot hold a felon once they've been arrested. He thought 12 months in prison for an adult that goes onto school property and deals fentanyl to children was too harsh of a sentence. He voted no. He thought 60 days in jail for a repeat spousal abuser. He said we had to be more thoughtful. He voted no. He voted for the disastrous Ralph Northam early release program, in which allowed felons to get out early to harm our communities. The bill he championed just last year, 9,638 felons got out early. 49.8% have already been rearrested in less than 2 years. That's his record. Do we want to hire Jay Jones? Do we want to hire Jay Jones? Weak and woke Jay Jones is wrong for Virginia. He should be running for Attorney General of California. Versus our record. Folks, one of the proud moments of my life was to be able to stand with Governor Youngkin. We were invited to go up to DEA national headquarters. My office alone has prosecuted and got enough fentanyl off our streets that would have killed 7 million Virginians. Remember what I told you. Highest levels of addiction deaths we'd ever seen in the history of Virginia. We were able to stand there and they announced that Virginia was not top 10, not top 5. We were the #1 state in the entire country in the drop of addiction deaths. That's what being the people's protector is all about. And so now I need you all to make sure that your voices are heard, because ultimately you may not feel this, but you're here, you're a leader. You're a leader because you could be anywhere. This is one of those gorgeous Friday nights in September in the fall in Virginia. You could be anywhere tonight. But you're here. Why? Because you love your country and you love the Commonwealth. And you've also decided you're not going to let your voices be silent. Because guess what? We saw last week in Utah, I think, a pivotal moment in modern American history where probably the most well-known political commentator of the age was gunned down, and 2 children were orphaned, and a 20-something-year-old beautiful wife was suddenly widowed. And what I realized is Charlie Kirk was not murdered about the Second Amendment. Charlie Kirk was murdered and assassinated over the First Amendment. He had no power. With few exceptions, you are private citizens just like Charlie Kirk. You don't make laws, you don't pass laws, you're not a mayor or a governor, but you're a private citizen with a voice. You know, our friends on the left, they often use phrases that I never could understand. They'll say things like, words are violence, and I never could understand that until I realized that they decided to use violence to silence words. They decided some ideas are not even worth debating. They were going to use the end of a gun to try to settle a political debate. Folks, that's not the America I ever want to live in. Sometimes when I travel around Virginia, I'll get asked, your name's a little different. What kind of name is Miyares? And I'll say, well, it's Southern. It's really deep South. But if you know my story, you know I have such an appreciation for what I call the American miracle. The fact is, my mother fled a country with no consent of the governed. Were the wrong ideas, you are silenced. Or my uncle, Angel Miyares, and we just passed the anniversary of when he fled Cuba, was arrested during the Bay of Pigs invasion. What was his crime? The wrong ideas. I don't want to go to America where people are too afraid to even go to a rally. Why? Because certain people on the far, far left want to silence your voice. Are you going to let them silence your voice? No. Because your vote, ladies and gentlemen, is your voice. In our democracy, your vote is your voice. And so I need you to make sure your voices are heard. And if you have not voted, then go on Monday and make sure your voice is heard and get your friends and get 10 of your neighbors. Because we need you to be those ambassadors. We need you to be those individuals, the people you work with, the people you worship with, the people you walk in your neighborhood with. Maybe you've never posted anything on social media. I get that. I get where politics is. But I'm going to ask you to talk to them. Post on social media. We don't want a Maryland or Virginia because we had this remarkable moment of choosing in the Commonwealth, whether we're going to go the way of the states, the blue states, the Marylands and the New York. Our friends on the left, they always talk about income inequality. Do you know the states that have the highest levels of income inequality? Blue states. The New York. To ever be silenced. I know. Ultimately, we are heirs to an incredible tradition in Virginia. Tomorrow or next year is a certain birthday. Do we know what it is? It's 250. It's America's birthday. And I don't know about you, but birthdays are supposed to be celebrations, not condemnations. My favorite president, and I'll end with this. President Reagan made this observation. He said, of all the countries in the world, the United States is the only country, the only one, in which our national anthem actually ends with a question. Are we still the land of the free and the home of the brave? I think that's by design. I think it's a question that has to be answered by every generation. It's been incredible to see the outpouring, both of grief, but also people standing up since last Tuesday. And I'm reminded that is a question that has to be answered by this generation, at this time, at this moment. My prayer is the answer will always be yes. Are you ready to answer yes to that question? Are you ready to answer yes to that question? Thank you all. It's an honor to be your Attorney General, the People's Protector. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Governor of the great Commonwealth of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin.
Are you ready to win again? Come on now, are we ready to win again? This is a big crowd. I want to hear it for everybody way back there. Let's hear it from you. Are you ready to win again? How about everybody on this side? Are you ready to win again? Folks, it is time to get it done. Hey, listen, before I get started, I want to thank Vivek Ramaswamy for coming from Ohio to here. Thank you, Vivek. He is going to be the next governor of Ohio. Hey, listen, while we're getting started, I want to stop for a minute. You know, one of the things that I deeply believe in is prayer. I deeply believe in prayer. And while we're here kind of quiet, I'd like to ask everybody to gather together in a prayer for Charlie Kirk. Listen, what happened last week was a horrific display of evil. What happened last week was an assault on America, but also a violation of everything we hold dear. A man who was standing for God and engaging in a discussion with America was assassinated. A father, a husband, a child of Christ. And so if we could just gather together for a minute. I don't know if you do it in your family, but in mine we hold hands. And I'd ask you to center yourself. Heavenly Father, we come together tonight with grateful hearts, hearts to reflect the many blessings that you bestow upon us to live in this most amazing nation, the United States of America, and this great Commonwealth of Virginia. And Father, we stop with broken hearts. We ask you to celebrate Charlie in heaven because we know he's with you. We ask you to wrap your hedge of protection around his amazing wife, Erica, and his children. We ask you to lift up Turning Point and quintuple the impact that they were having across America today. And finally, Father, we ask you to heal our nation, to bring us to a moment where we understand that violence can never be the solution. Father, I thank you for Charlie Kirk and the impact that he had on so many. And I ask you to help all of us make his impact continue at a way that is as big as you are. And we pray all this in the mighty name of your Son. Amen. My friends, thank you. My friends, thank you. Tonight is really important. Tonight's important for all of us to come together and recognize one real truth. Elections have consequences. They have consequences, and if you don't believe that, you didn't see that on January 20th, America was changed for the good. You didn't see on January 20th that all of a sudden America was becoming great again. You didn't see on January 20th that when Mike Johnson took his seat as Speaker of the House, and when Leader Thune took his seat as leading the Senate, and when Donald J. Trump took his seat in the White House, America was on the roll. Elections have consequences. And here we stand in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. And as we look back just 4 years ago, and we see where Virginia was and where Virginia is. Where Virginia was, bottom third in the nation in job growth. More people moving away than moving here for nearly a decade, a 20-year high in murder rate. Parents being told you have no right to have a say in what's being taught in your children's schools. A Virginia that candidly none of us recognized because they were trying to turn California and Virginia into sister states. That is what they were up to. My friends, elections have consequences, and 4 years ago we stood up as Virginians and we made a statement, no, not here, no, not here, no, not here. That's what we said. And let me tell you, you hired the best attorney general in America in Jason Miyares. You hired the best lieutenant governor, soon to be the best governor in America, in Winsome Earle-Sears. You flipped our House and proved that Republicans should be in control in our General Assembly. And Virginians, you gave me the greatest honor of a lifetime other than when I was accepted by Christ and when my wife said, yes, I'll marry you. You hired an unknown, an outsider, someone who had never held political office before to go work for all of you. God bless you, and thank you for hiring me. And we never look back. We never look back. And today, a state that was bottom third in job growth is breaking record after record after record. 270,000 more people working today. 220,000 open and available jobs. $140 billion of investment from businesses. And another 85,000 jobs on the come. My friends, we have jobs in Virginia. Virginia's got jobs. We went to work to put parents back at the head of the table, not in the other room. They are your children. Nobody signs up to co-parent with the government. Nobody. We stepped forward and said, in Virginia, we back the blue. And I want to stop for a minute and have a rousing applause for every one of the brave men and women who puts on a bulletproof vest every day and goes to work. My friends, we went to work. Virginia today leads. We lead the nation in reducing fentanyl overdoses. We lead the nation in getting our kids back in the classroom. We are leading, which is what Virginians do from the beginning of this great nation. And yet here we stand at a fork in the road where we have to decide which way are we going to go. Are we going to go down the right fork, the fork of truth, the fork of light? Or is Virginia going to be dragged down the wrong fork? A fork of darkness, a fork of wrong. My friends, we cannot stand in the middle. We must choose the right fork. We must choose the fork of light. We must choose. And that's what this is all about. There is no moment for us to stand in the middle, because that's not what Virginians do. 250 years ago in March, Virginians were standing, waiting to see whether we were going to raise a militia to go help our brethren in Massachusetts and fight for our independence. 250 years ago, Virginians were tied in that vote. And a man walked up to the front of the church at St. John's Church, a man whose words have echoed through the centuries to remind us that we can't stand in the middle. And Patrick said, "I know not what choice others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." There is no standing in the middle. It is time for us to choose the right path, a path that is literally paved with the sacrifices of men and women over the centuries, a path that stands for liberty and freedom, a path that stands for the righteous right, a path that is a path we have been on and we must continue to be on, and therefore we must elect Winsome Earle-Sears as our next governor. We must elect John Reid as our lieutenant governor. We must re-elect the greatest attorney general in America, Jason Miyares. And we must take back our House of Delegates, and we will sweep again. Now, my friends, we know how to win elections in Virginia. We have to do 5 things. 5 things. Number 1, and I hate to say this, but if you haven't donated to these campaigns, I need to ask you to donate. Anything. $5, $10, $25. The other side has a magic faucet, and the money just comes pouring out. And we've got to fight back, because our message is the winning message. Common sense, conservative policies don't just win, they work. They work. We got to donate. Second of all, starting today, we got to go vote. We got to go vote. You got to get out and vote. My friends, they asked me early on in the run in 2021, "Governor, what's your path to victory?" And I thought for a minute, and I said, I'm going to get more votes than the other guy. You got to get out and vote, and I want you to get 10 friends to go vote. Get to the polls with 10 friends. If they haven't voted, go pick them up in your car and go vote. Go vote. Third thing we need you to do is we need people to volunteer. By the way, if we have attorneys in the room, we need you in our election integrity effort to be part of the effort. Volunteer. If you can stand at a poll and hand out a sample ballot, hand it out. We just need you to smile. Hi. Would you like to vote for Republicans? Here's the sample ballot. Do you want to vote for the future of the Commonwealth? Here's the sample ballot. We need volunteers. Fourth thing we need is we need everybody in here to get a sign and put it in your yard. If I see an empty yard, well, I'm worried about who they might vote for. Get a sign, put it in your yard. Fifth thing we got to do, and I have no idea where you are in your faith walk, but we got to pray over this. We can't win without it. I'm just telling you, we know this. These candidates are working so hard. They make up stuff about them. They say mean things that aren't true. We got to get the scales off of our voters' eyes. We got to pray for a hedge of protection around them. My friends, we got to pray. But by the way, if we donate and we vote and we volunteer and we put signs in our yard and we pray, we will win, and Winsome Earle-Sears will be our governor. John Reid will be our lieutenant governor. Jason Miyares will be our attorney general. We will take back our House of Delegates, And Virginia will keep soaring to heights that none of you has even dreamed about. My friends, it is time to win. Are you ready to win? God bless you all. Get out and vote. Thank you.
Beautiful, for heroes proved in liberating strife. Who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. Success be nobleness, and ever again divine. And you know, when I was in school, we used to sing it something like this. Listen here. Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, over the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He crowned our good. Yes, he did. Heavy brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me sing this.
Please welcome our current Lieutenant Governor and the next Governor of the great Commonwealth of Virginia, Winsome Earle-Sears.
Ain't nobody crying. Ain't nobody worried. No. Ain't no smiling faces. No, no. Lying to the races. Help me. Come on. Come on.
more divisive politics. No more politics that disturbs us. No more politics that confuses us. No more politics that confuses our children. We don't want that. We are not about confusion. We are planting the flag and taking a stand for righteousness. That's what we are doing. This election is not about the next 4 years. This election is about the vision and the future of Virginia for our children. It's about our future, and it starts today with your vote, with your vote, with your vote. Because you see, here I am, the American dream. The American dream. My father came to America poor. He was so poor, he couldn't afford the OR, so he was just poor. He was just poor. Just poor. Because he had $1.75 in his pocket. You know my story. But it never gets old, because those who want to divide us will try to say, well, she doesn't know what it's like to be poor. Let me tell you, my father said he couldn't remember if he came with $1.50 or $1.75. So I made him a quarter richer. That's what we did. And now my father, he worked so many jobs at one time, 3 and 4. And I know, because when I opened the bureau drawer one day and I saw all these job IDs, and I wonder how my father did it. He did it the hard way. He did it the American way. He worked hard. He worked hard. That's what he did. Nobody gave him anything. I saw that for myself. And now my father, you know, is comfortably retired. When he came here at the height of the civil rights movement with only the $1.75. He came 17 days before Dr. King gave his I Have a Dream speech. So if he can do it, we can do it now in this century. That's what we can do. We are tired of politicians who keep saying things that aren't so. They say they want to tolerate, but only when they want to tolerate. This is America. That's not what we do. We can disagree without being disagreeable. We must be able to talk to each other. That's what we're about. And what are we talking about? Good question. Who asked that? Oh, I did. It's a very good question. Listen, you've already heard all the wonderful things that we've done. But more than heard, you have felt it, because you have seen when we have given you back your own tax money. $9 billion. $9 billion. That's serious money. That's going to jail money if you steal it. And my opponent has said, you elect her and she's going to take it back, because there's always some kind of government program that they know best how to spend your money. Well, you elect me, you will never have that, because we're going to keep giving you back your own hard-earned money. That's what we're going to do. And let me tell you what else we're going to do. How many veterans do we have in the audience? Let me see your hands. Yes. Law enforcement, let me see you out there. Love it. Folks, we are going to make sure that you are safe and secure in your homes. Your children can walk the streets. Your businesses, the inventory isn't walking out the door. That's nonsense. That's what my opponent stands for. But we are for common sense. That's what we do. That's right. This is not hard. Folks, I want to leave her, Virginia, better then I found her. That's what I want to do. With your help, we will get there. I don't say me, I say we, because I can't do it by myself. I need your help to get us there. With your vote, we will get there. So we will be safe. But my opponent has already said the first day that she is elected, which she won't, but she said you give her the governorship, she is going to turn Virginia into a sanctuary state. I don't think so. Not on my watch, it won't happen. Because I'm a Marine and I know how to take charge. That's why. She voted against the Lake and Riley Act, which simply said this: if you're criminally, illegally here, then you must go back home. And why does that make sense? It makes sense. We don't need any more criminals, do we? No. No. Well, we have pedophiles and murderers and rapists that we found here. We found the number 3 MS-13 gang leader right here in Virginia. Folks, he's going back. He's going back. He's going back. We have found over 4,000 criminals who are illegally here, and they are in some form of deportation. That's right. My opponent voted for open borders. How many of you have a front door? Well, that's the border. That's our front door. And how many of you want to know who's coming in? That's exactly right. And by the way, I pay the mortgage around here. Get off my grass. Folks, fentanyl came across that border. You heard that already. Gangs came across that border. You heard that already. I went down to the border for myself because the media was telling us, don't believe what your eyes are showing you, with all those folks coming across and we don't know who they are. I don't know if you're running towards something like liberty, like freedom, like my father was, or are you running from something like a murder charge? We didn't know that. And because we didn't know who was coming across, you saw what happened. We found in Virginia Tren de Aragua. We found all these other international gangs and cartels, but they're going home. They're going home. They're going home. And my opponent voted against you because she voted, yes, for sanctuary cities. She voted for reduced penalties when you commit heinous crimes. And she is going to protect us? I don't think so. No. I like him. Don't believe what politicians tell you. Believe their voting record. Let me tell you, parents, she voted against you. She voted against the Parents' Rights Act, which simply says this. If you're changing the curriculum, tell me as the parent. If my child is not on grade level by the 3rd grade, tell me. If my child is transitioning and you're helping, tell me. This is my child, my child, my child. We don't co-parent. We don't co-parent. I told you it's divisive politics. So you saw I went up to Northern Virginia to make sure those parents knew that I'm on your side. I'm on your side. And folks, you see what they did to me, but it's not just me. They didn't like my message, which simply says this: we don't want men undressing in girls' locker rooms. My opponent voted for that, supported that, and to dire consequences. And what's wrong? What's wrong with making sure that all of our children have privacy It's common sense. Thank you very much. You passed the test. We need to give it to her. Love you too. And folks, I saw the sign. You know the sign, the one that said, I couldn't drink. In fact, it was all black people could not drink at her water fountain. What century are we in? It was so wrong. And my opponent said nothing. She let her staff do it. And I had to call her out and say she was a coward and she needed to come forward and disavow the sign. Disavow the sign. I'm telling you, we are done with divisive politics. We are planting our flag and taking a stand because we're not going back. We're not going to let her take us back. And she voted against our law enforcement and Department of Corrections personnel. But don't take my word for it. Look it up. Because what she did was take money from the PAC that said, sign here that you will defund the police. You will get rid of their qualified immunity. And then who's going to come get us? Who's going to come rescue us when we need them? Exactly. Nobody. Because the police and the sheriffs have told me, if we don't win, which we will, but if we don't win, they're leaving. And then what? Listen, we are going to win. We are going to win because we have the right ideas. Our children must be safe. You must be safe. The next thing, and I'm closing. Well, maybe we should pass the offering bucket first, and then we'll close. You see all those jobs that we've been creating? In the past 2 months, we have created 10,000 new jobs, as I'm told by the statistician. 10,000. If you want a job, we have a job for you. And all my opponent is doing now is divisiveness, division, getting in our way and saying, we don't have any jobs for people. Folks, we know how to do this. I'm a business owner. I know how to create jobs. She's never done it. She doesn't know how this works, so I guess maybe that's why she said what she said. We will continue to create jobs. We must, because we want our children to have a hope and to have a future. And to do that, we're going to give them a good education so that they can get started. Folks, we have, as we say, those of us who've been in the military, we're counting now. That's right. I love it. It's the sound of freedom. It's the sound of liberty. That's what it sounds like to me. And speaking of the military, that's right. Right back at you, Leatherneck. I think I'm the only lieutenant governor who can put on a pair of spikes and climb up those telephone poles, because that's what I did. I was a journeyman electrician and a diesel mechanic when I was in the Marine Corps. So you could actually smell me before you saw me, because, you know, diesel does have that smell. But it's okay. I had my lipstick on, so I was good. So that makes me, folks, the only blue-collar worker in this election. That's what that makes me. Blue-collar. Blue-collar all the way. Blue-collar. That's right. I have a trade. I have a trade. Listen. Love you again. We're going to win. We're going to win because enough people have seen the results when you elected us. We went to work, as Governor Youngkin likes to say. Love that tall guy. He put the rest of us to work. Gov, you're killing us. What now? Another job? Yes, more job openings. Folks, that's why we're going to win. You saw Eli Lilly. The governor just announced more jobs, more jobs, more jobs. You know what they said? The CEO said, we came. Yes, he gave a lot of reasons, and then the one reason, that was the massive reason, he said, we saw other companies moving to Virginia, and we said, we want to come too. We want to come too because they're doing good things in Virginia, and we want to be a part of it. If you want that to continue, you got to elect us, because my opponent is voting against jobs because she's going to get rid of the right to work. That means every single paycheck you're going to have to pay to a union. That's not freedom. No, that's not liberty. No. I'm not against unions. I am just pro-worker. I want you to keep more of your money. Folks, we have the future in front of us. We have to be serious. Are we serious? Yes. We're going to win. We're going to win for our children. We're going to establish the beachhead, and we're going to go to work, because the future starts today. We're going to plant our flag and take a stand. So show up if you want to make sure that your taxes are low. Show up if you want to be safe and secure in your communities. Show up if you want jobs to continue to be created. Show up if, as the parent, you want to make sure that you're in charge all the time, every day, and twice on Sundays. Show up if you want to make sure your child has a good education. Show up if you want to make sure we don't have sanctuary states right here. Show up for your children. Show up. It's 2025. It's 2025. We're going to win. We're going to go forward. Forward is the only way I know. There's nothing back there. Forward is the way. We've established ourselves. We didn't come this far to only go this far. We've got a lot more work to do. We've got regulations that we still need to get rid of. Job-killing regulations. We've got more jobs that we need to produce. We got to make sure that our police, law enforcement, sheriffs, Department of Personnel know that we care about them, because we've seen what happens when we lose morale. We're not going to do that. With me, our children will have a future. You will get there. We'll all get there. And we'll get rid of politicians who try to confuse us, confuse our children, cut off perfectly good body parts. No. We're going to bring in the House. We're going to bring in the House. We have to vote for the House. We're going to get our Lieutenant Governor in, John Reid. We're going to get our Attorney General in, Jason Miyares. And you're going to elect me as your 75th governor of this great Commonwealth of Virginia. God bless you. God bless our great Virginia.